Welcome to the Adam Roosevelt Show. You all have been following us Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where we cover U.S. political topics as well as foreign affairs topics. Today's episode 7, Homeland Priorities. Welcome to the Adam Roosevelt Show. Let's dive in. Big updates from the White House. President Biden has expanded Title 42. All of you are probably wondering what is Title 42, and it refers to a rarely used section of the U.S. Code that goes back as far as 1944, empowering health authorities to prohibit migrants from staying in the country based on a justification of communicable diseases if these diseases are present in terms of people being affected, infected, and this gives the government power to remove these individuals based on this justification. It's very interesting that this was a law that was essentially created under this title that allows government to execute their immigration policy and have an excuse in terms of why that immigrant or migrant should not be in the country. Now, what's interesting here is that the administration was campaigning to end Title 42, and we saw this title primarily used for Mexicans who came in to the southern border or illegal migrants who were Mexican who came in through, unauthorized location coming into the United States. Now we're told this title is also being used to target and expel Nicaraguans and Cubans, and then they're being sent back to Mexico. Which is really interesting is that the U.S. government has been sending migrants from El Paso, Texas, to Juarez, Mexico. And large in part, if you ask me, this strategy is mostly immigration control, and it gives the government a tool they can leverage to enforce their immigration policy. Now, larger conversations that still need to be discussed is the U.S. southern border strategy, because that has been neglected from the perspective of stronger, stricter policies in terms of enforcing the current policies of the United States. And there's a lot of advocate groups out there that would tend to side with the lack of Homeland Security in terms of border security. We know that under the Trump administration, there was a heavy concentration on border security, but we do need to hear and see what the southern border strategy is going to be essentially from this current administration, and how they're going to manage the influx and the uptick of migrants coming in, but either they're coming into the ports of entry or illegal crossing locations, Rio Grande River, and essentially some of these migrants are dying on this journey to the United States. So the administration, in terms of the White House, through the advocacy and the representatives of the Homeland Security Department, would need to be on the front lines of this issue, and we'll just continue to see how this all unfolds. But I think the large point is pathway to citizenship needs to be defined, it needs to be followed, and we need to make sure it's enforced from a Homeland Security perspective. And just some quick notes: 42 suspected terrorists have been apprehended at the southern border during the President Biden's administration. When I was at Homeland Security, General Kelly was our secretary, and there was a major focus on the Northern Triangle countries, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, because we saw a large influx of migrant population, illegal immigrants coming through. So again, this is what's happening. Title 42, very interesting, given the administration's original position was to end Title 42. Let's move on. Actually, we've got some new interesting big stories happening from the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court. The draft opinion was leaked. The documents were leaked. The public has been informed. They know exactly what the future of this ruling will be, because essentially the Supreme Court is going to strike down the Roe versus Wade ruling. Now, what does this mean? There's a lot of talk around women's rights, in particular to the abortion rights. And as we know, this is going to be a major conversation. It's going to change the landscape of gender-based politics and we're going to need to see, how communities are going to digest this one. It's already going to generate a lot of protest. There's going to be major conversations about women's rights. Whatever side you fall on the issue, this is going to be a major topic that will be continued to be talked about for a period of time. So we're going to keep watching this, and hopefully, depending on what side you are on, we'll see how it impacts the environment around the United States, particularly with women who don't agree with the Supreme Court striking down the ruling. Last but not least, this is very interesting. One of our very own favorite comedians, Dave Chapelle, was attacked during a show in Los Angeles, California. The attacker is in custody. Some folks are saying that they're tying this to the Will Smith assault that happened, and now there seems to be a trend where comedians are being targeted, and this may have been the first step in terms of more security at these events, protecting these comedians and making sure that people do not intend or carry out an activity that would harm that comedian, that person. So we're going to continue following along what's happening there. But, our heart goes out to Dave Chapelle and his family. And we know he's okay. And we know the attacker is in custody. So that brings us to the end, episode 7, Homeland Priorities. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Instagram. Again, thank you for watching. Welcome to the Adam Roosevelt Show. We'll see you tomorrow.